Greetings, Dr. Joseph Martin. Our topic for enlightenment today is collapse of civilizations, knowledge and know-how. Well, many of you might be familiar with Dr. Jared Diamond, and his book of recent times in the 21st century is called Collapse, and he has a National Geographic special on the same topic, which I just watched yesterday, and I think it's very informative. Now, of course, this is psychologically a challenging topic, and of course, myself, Dr. Joseph Martin, I have been an anthropologist, archaeologist to a small degree, and also a psychologist for many decades now, and want to share with you the importance of why we need to get our heads out of the sand and stop being unconscious and move towards a conscious choice to challenge the chaos that we experience in and around us on the planet. Now, one of the things that I'd like to share with you is that why is it humans, and in our human nature, we know that we like to delay things even if we know about things. As long as we seem content in the moment, we tend to not even want to think about what the challenges or problems could be down the line. Charles Dickens, who was a great English writer, said, there are two things in humanity that cause breakdowns in society, and those are want and ignorance. Now, what if we could change human nature to the point that is consciously choose to change ourselves and our communities and our global situation to remove the want, because most wars are made because we want more natural resources, we want more land or territory, we want to have more issues to resolve with other people by lording it over them and stealing everything they have. What if we moved out of the need for wanting more and just said enough is enough, and know when enough is enough in terms of material goods, and said move from want to wealth for all, so that we can all just share all the natural resources that we have here on the planet. And what if we could allow our human nature, by taking charge of ourselves individually, because that's all you can ever do is take charge of yourself individually, and move from ignorance to illumination. From ignorance, where we just avoid things and we let them kind of slip into the future until it's too late, and then we have to pay all the repercussions that come to us. So illumination now in this moment is probably the only thing we can do that is going to save and create some hope for society. What if our descendants 200 years from now said to us when they're doing archaeological digs of whatever changes have happened on the planet, and hopefully we can choose to minimize those, can't we? If they said, you know what, those people in the 21st century, in the early part of it, really smartened up. They saw the writing on the wall. They learned from past history and the fallout of old civilizations that did go the way of the dodo bird, unfortunately. That's another thing about our society, is despeciation happens when we just take too much from the world. What if we were able to turn it around and do the right thing and take stock of everything, find out all the factors that are causing this global, perhaps imminent collapse on different levels, and do something about it so that things will be different for descendants 7 generations from now in the future. So this video is an introduction to knowledge, because knowledge is power. And what we need right now is for all the young people under the age of 25 around the world, in all the countries and cultures of Africa and the Middle East and Asia and Eastern Asia and Northern Europe and all of Central, South, and North America, to have the knowledge base, and particularly the women, people of color, people of lower class in terms of economic status, and people of all backgrounds, the young people get together in this millennial generation and gain the knowledge and the know-how, what they need to do it a little differently and to resolve the major critical issues that we all now face. With the technology we have, with our knowledge base, which is very pragmatic and practical, we can and we will change this and turn this around. That's the whole point of having this video and future videos as well. In past civilizations, for instance, we'll take three: the Anasazi of the American Southwest, who were First Nations, indigenous peoples, who rose to a zenith in Pueblo situation there from about 600 AD to about 1000 AD. And Chaco Canyon is the place there, Pueblo Bonito, and as an anthropologist, I have visited this place and worked there somewhat. They fell into decline, and also the Mayan, their classic Mayan period, is also around the same time frame, 700 AD to about 1100 AD. And I have worked with the Mayans three different times as well. So my experience has always made me look for and ask for the factors that cause the fallout or the fall down of civilizations. And there are many. I think perhaps the most important one is water. Human beings can't do without water for more than 2 or 3 days at a time. And when there are long periods of extended drought and or, on the other hand, too much water that muddies all the cisterns and so on, but most likely it's the drought or the pollution of the water, as we do find now in our world situation in the lakes and rivers of the ocean. Water is a critical issue. Secondly, we could say energy and the need for energy to supply our heating, our homes, our electrical, our cars, our computers, and so on. We need to know that the energy grids, which seem to be even this winter here in Canada and America, the grids are falling down because of not just the ice storms, of course, but the grids can't support all that's needed in terms of this. So we're looking to regridify our power systems, our energy systems, in something that's a little bit more sustainable and a little bit more immune to weather. So we have that, and then of course we have the notion that warfare, is also a cause of the breakdown of civilizations when the social institutions and the cultural institutions fall apart. And then we know that there's something in the moral fabric that cannot be sustained in the social fabric. Besides this, we have other issues like overpopulation. If it were to happen, this would be the first time in the history of the world that we've had a global catastrophic civilizational collapse because of the overpopulation, and the 7.1 billion people now in 2013 could easily turn into 9 billion within another decade or so. If we're finding food and water and housing scarce at this point, we might find that in future times that this could also be an issue. Added to the fact that now everyone realizes the truth of global climate change with the increasing tornadoes, hurricanes, all sorts of weather conditions that are causing mass migrations of peoples from all over the areas that are hit hardest to other countries nearby or even around the world, in fact. In the 20th century, and even in this century, we've realized that the increasing wind patterns and changing wind patterns and even more ferocious winds have created something that would be creating a lot of dust storms on the planet. So we've had those in America over the last 100 years, and presently in the last decade or so, we've found these in China and different places of the world. Dust storms removes the top layers of soil, which is what we need most importantly for growing all our foods. Speaking of food, the increased use of chemical fertilizers over the last 50, 60 years has created some GMO food products, which we know are carcinogenic for our bodies and toxic to the food, the water, and the soil, and the air, as a matter of fact, as well. Now, another thing that happens in civilizations as they rise past their zenith is that those who've been able to create a lot of wealth for themselves, the elite of the elite, if you like, the 1% of the 1%, have in fact overextended themselves with what they own and created more of a separation between the top layers of the social system and the lower classes who are falling even lower, particularly the middle classes. And when this happens, and there's a kind of if we can say this in a nice way, a smugness, when this happens, we realize that This overextension of the elite and creating even more class challenge or warfare, even class struggle, creates an issue that is part of the scenario when civilizations are teetering on the tipping point edge. And in our particular society, technological success with the cars and the airplanes and so on has created more of an acceleration of daily life for humans and for societies, to the level that psychologically and biologically humans are feeling much more stress than they've ever had before, and they don't know how to deal with it. It's kind of like it's creating a lot of mental and emotional illness on the planet that's creating a hard time for institutions, but certainly for the individuals and families who are feeling quite depressed or lonely with these mental health concerns, is an end result of all the accelerated life stresses that we have today on the planet. We can deal with toxicity as well, which is from the methane gas and from the carbon dioxide and monoxide and other sulfurous emissions into the atmosphere that's creating a lot of health issues in terms of cancers for people, but lung conditions as we have in China and other parts of the globe today where the atmosphere is literally unbreathable. And I did mention earlier despeciation. With the increasing number of species that are dying off on our planet. It's not just with the animals and the fish, which are being a large food supply for those non-vegetarians on the planet presently, but also just the plants themselves and the decreasing number of herbal plants and other food species that are being modified and to the point where they may not be as nutritious for us as they used to be about 80 or 100 years ago. Having said all this, I think that's kind of covering it right now, the basis of it all, and of course there'll be more in the future videos. But we want to focus on the positive and the hopeful here. Knowledge is power, and knowledge is what you're going to need to understand what the issues are. And once you logically and rationally understand what the issues are, you can deal with them individually by educating yourself more online, watching videos, and then speaking out in public to yourselves, your neighbors, your tribe, your friends, your community, and even putting things online like I am here to share your knowledge worldwide. The know-how part comes to the point of many of us worldwide in every country and culture will need to reestablish our awareness and our practical use of all the things that will keep us alive. So to carry on then, we need to find the knowledge and the know-how to be able to survive and support ourselves within our family and our community and our local nature that we have around us. So that will be growing your own food, having your own water supply, be able to do hunting and gathering in the sense of looking for berries and roots and leaves and things that are for teas and food and salves and so on, and making sure that you have all the necessities for your basic life in terms of food, water, shelter, and so on, clothing and warmth and all these things, to know that you will be able to, you're capable with the knowledge you have to just survive and enjoy a local life when, say, electricity isn't working and things are off the grid or the computers are down for a little bit of a time or whatever it may be, that you know and you feel comfortable and hopeful and satisfied in sharing your knowledge and your services and the skill sets you have and also the produce you have and the products you've been able to make for yourselves with all those people locally. This is definitely a key in this whole process. We've known that this is coming for a while. Obviously, simplifying is the way to be for now and the future, but mostly being patient, being compassionate, being focused, being courageous and strong enough to realize that we can do this, we are doing this, and we will do this, and you can participate and co-participate and co-create a much better future for all our present people on the planet and our descendants to come. Well, more to be shared a little later. Dr. Joseph Martin with you now, supporting you in your heart and your mind and your body and all your process. Just keep learning all that you know you need to learn and stay positive. God bless.